scoreboard time because it takes about 20.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning and welcome to the Big Football Show. I'm your host, BA. Of course, I got my crew with me, Jack Hirsch, Keith Engel, and James Martin. How you fellas doing this morning?
Good morning.
Big day
Excellent.
of college football yesterday. Well, I wouldn't say a big day of college football. It's always a big day of college football because everybody's playing.
Not one of the best cards, but some good games.
No, yeah, some good games. Turned out to be some good games. I just want to ask a question. Arizona State. I never thought they were that great of a football team, but they managed to keep getting in the top 25, and they keep managing to lose the teams they shouldn't be losing to. I don't know what's going on with Arizona State, but
They're not.
they lost yesterday 24-16 to Houston.
They're not deep. They've lost one game without their quarterback, Levitt. They lost yesterday with one of the best wide receivers in the country out of the lineup. So, teams aren't deep. Most teams like Arizona State aren't deep and able to, I think, absorb those types of losses like some other teams can. And that Big 12 is just a wacky conference. It always is. And who thought Cincinnati would be sitting tied with BYU for the second year in a row, 8-0, tied at the top of that conference. Cincinnati out of nowhere.
Yeah, Illinois is another one of those teams that I'm not sure where they're going because Washington upset them. Although Washington's a pretty good team.
Better.
Yeah, they're a better team. And they beat number 23 Illinois 42-25. And then number 25 Michigan beat MSU 31-20. Sorry, little brother. It's going to happen again. Let's see. Let's talk about some of these big games, though. We're going to start with the, unfortunately for James, we're going to start with number 3 Texas A&M throttling number 20 LSU 49-25. Oh God, this was painful to watch. And
for you or for me?
For you too. I was on the LSU, bandwagon there. Jeez.
I bet A&M yesterday, so it was fairly easy watch for myself. It's just
Let's cut the mic off for Keith right now. So look, I wasn't expecting us to cut me. I thought that we had an opportunity possibly to come in and win because LSU's record in Death Valley at night is usually a really good opportunity to try to win. And first half, to be fair to them, at halftime they led at 18-14. But saying that, last year Texas A&M came back and throttled LSU in the second half just as they did this game here, and it was just disappointing. But I'm going to give kudos to Texas A&M. They are, for the first time since 1992, they scored 40 or more points in 4 consecutive games, and this is the first time in team history they've done that. And they're number 8. They're number 8 right now. They're 8-0 for the first time in that history. But they're number 3.
Yeah.
And they could honestly be pushed up to number 2 or number 1 if I'm not, just on the strength of schedule, and they look dominant. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run in the playoffs.
They're the best team in the SEC at the moment. with the eye test. I mean, it's not even close in my mind from what I've watched. Every other team has had some kind of letdown of some kind, even if it was just a close call. And A&M, Mike Elko's a really good coach, and he just flies under the radar. He did at Duke. He did when he was here as a defensive coordinator at A&M. He's always been a really good coach and a really good head coach, and they're really good, but they won't. Maybe part of it is sneaking up on people a little bit, but A&M's high enough profile. You're not really sneaking up on people. So,
Right.
This is a good football team that has to be reckoned with. I love the quarterback. He just Reed plays some great. He's fun to watch play. There's just a good football team, and they'll probably get to 2. If they were to win out, they'll finish second to either Indiana or Ohio State, probably. In that playoff pool would be my guess. Playoff poll.
Well, speaking of
Unfortunately,
Indiana,
there's teams to play at, so they won't hold up.
speaking of Indiana, wow, they destroyed you. Yeah, we're gonna put you back where you belong at because you try to get up there and win one game, but not happening this time.
Well,
I think Indiana is one of those teams that are one of the best in the country too. Ohio State had a bye, obviously, so they didn't play. But this is my opinion. Wow. I'm not. It's my opinion because I'm an OSU hater anyway. But the point of it, I think Indiana can beat OSU. But what is the panel's opinion about that? Do you think they could do that?
they can beat them. Will they? I don't know. These are, to me, I think they're the 2 best teams in the country, and with A&M kind of pushing them a little bit. Again, until teams play each other, you really don't know, right? We've seen a lot of that. We think teams are good, and then they play a certain matchup, and they can't play. Indiana will have a much better chance at beating Ohio State or winning in the playoffs than they had last year, because they're better in the trenches and their quarterback is really, really good. That's one of the big differences right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before you go any further, I want to chime in on that. Indiana, I thought the same for them last season, and then OSU, Ohio State, just throttled them in the game. Now they won't play during the regular season this season, but likely, by all intents and purposes, they'll probably meet up in the championship. Correct?
Yep,
Unless Michigan maybe throws a wrench into things. So that's about the only thing I can see that could derail that.
Yeah, and so I think again, I would like to say that I think that Indiana could beat them this year, but I thought the same last year, and so I don't know. We'll see.
I think more last year was about Indiana beating themselves. They did a lot of they had that game all the way until about halftime, and then in the second half they just self-destructed. And I'm not saying that Ohio State didn't have something to do with that too, but Indiana, the special teams they just fell apart. It's like they didn't know,
Special teams and Rick Sherlock, who we just said good morning to, will talk about special teams all the time. And Indiana last year, that killed them in that Ohio State game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right. And this is a much different football team than last year's. It's better, much better. And they played better competition leading up to this point as well. They went on the road and beat Oregon. That's not an easy task to do for anybody. So I think this is a better football team with a better chance to win. I'm not saying today they'll win, but I'll make that prediction that day. But they're much more prepared to beat Ohio State than they were last year.
And Miami, I saw, took care of business also yesterday.
Sluggish start. It was ugly 7-7 at halftime. Not pretty. Then they ran off like 42 unanswered points, which they should have. Stanford's not good. This was not a good start. And by the way, I'm glad they pay tribute to our troops, but please, these uniforms are so ugly. Can we not wear these anymore? And if anybody thinks it's just a tribute and it's not a money grab, because I went and looked before game time, the thing was on their site already, the jersey for $139. So just give me another jersey to sell. Anyway,
so Keith is saying for $130, keep your money.
Keep your money. Even I was sitting with an ex-Marine, my son-in-law, watching the game, and he's like, "What the heck? These are the ugliest things ever." Don't give us tribute like this.
So Jack, give us your game of the day that you watched or that you had participation in that you like.
Well, without a doubt, would you let off the show with Arizona State game of the day? I mean, I could go on, you lie. I hope there's a lesson learned in that, that big. But the game of the day, without question, Texas, Mississippi State. What a game! Texas down 17. I mean, I stood with the game, but I wouldn't have blamed anyone for tuning out. Texas looked done. And of course, you watch Texas, you think of Arch Manning, but I was thinking of the Texas defense. What happened to them? I mean, they didn't show up till the end of the game. The way, Mississippi State could move the ball on them, but a remarkable comeback. Arch Manning takes an extra hit needlessly. I kind of wonder whether the player should have gotten flagged on the second hit or not, hitting him on the helmet like that. And then a controversial replay call at the end for them to get the go-ahead touchdown there, too. Replay is supposed to be conclusive, guys, right? Conclusive. If we have to watch it a few times and we're still not sure, it's not conclusive to me. And if we have to bring in an expert official to explain us control of the ball, this and that, and the guys in the booth, some of them who played the game don't understand it completely, there's a problem. I mean, you kind of lived that, Brian, with the Lions, with, Calvin Johnson, a controversial call, putting the ball down. It was overturned. And sometimes I don't get replay, whether it serves a purpose or what a thrilling win for Texas. And that would have basically finished their season, I think, for the most part. Not officially, but for the most part. And for them to win on the road in thrilling fashion like that. And just second, Bill Belichick, I just want to very quickly, give him his due. The North Carolina defense showed up. He's maybe finally getting through to them. Maybe on that side of the ball, offensively, they're lacking. But that defense was a Belichick defense yesterday. So maybe it took a while. Maybe he wasn't lying to us, that they are going to get it together, at least on the defensive side of the ball. And as long as they could play the type of defense they played yesterday, they're not going to embarrass themselves going forward.
Yeah, as far as the Lions and the Lions are like the guinea pigs of the NFL rule books,
Yeah.
They always find some way they can screw the Lions by saying, "Oh well, this is a new rule we just implemented because you're the Detroit Lions." But anyway, yeah. We have
just a really quick touch on Jack's analysis of the Texas game. Arch Manning played a tremendous fourth quarter. He played a good game and a tremendous fourth quarter to bring his team back. And let's not, again, a lot of people want to dump all over Arch. Go look at the numbers. There's a lot of guys who are also highly hyped quarterbacks who are having awful seasons, and Arch isn't as bad as them. So just take a look at you, John.
And also to piggyback off that, they played against a really good Mississippi State team. Mississippi State wasn't. Yeah, they're actually pretty good.
Tough place to play.
Are they really that good, James? They haven't won a game in their conference in 2 years or so? I mean, how good is Mississippi
They're much
State?
improved over last year.
They're much improved, Jack. Yeah, for sure.
And it's again, even what Nick Saban said, even when that football team was bad, Starksville's a tough place to go play. He said, yes, you'd hear the cowbells ringing in your ears for a week after you left. So,
and yeah, Jack, as far as Bill Belichick is concerned at UNC, I think that, he had his guys' attention this game. Let's see what happens if it carries over to the next game.
And shout out to Bill Belichick. Shout out to Bill Belichick for trying the 2-point conversion. I mean, most coaches don't do that. I mean, he had the guts to go ahead and do it. It didn't succeed, but they could have won the game. And I don't shun the decision at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think Jack got very close to calling this a moral victory for Bill Belichick.
But... No. Yeah. You got me back on Ryan's behalf of my Arizona State remark. Okay, I'll give you that. You got me with that thing. But Right. I mean, listen, the
Yeah, that's what you
people
get,
at
Jack.
North Carolina for their home game, I'm sure they didn't leave the game as disgusted as they have, in the past, earlier this season, okay, for the other games.
You might just
I
swell
mean,
some
they
words.
left okay. Virginia is not much, but they were rated number 16. I mean, it wasn't like it's not like they were playing Syracuse or someone.
It's a good football team. I agree.
Yeah.
Mhm. They were ranked. They were ranked 16 out of 25
Yeah.
teams. So I mean, hey. Also, number 8, Ole Miss 34, number 13, Oklahoma 26. This is a pretty good game. I watched this game all the way through. This is a really good game. It's a back and forth for a few moments. Ole Miss, man, they're a pretty good team too.
Lane
Their
Kiffin
defense
tried,
comes up.
Lane Kiffin tried very hard to lose this game.
He did.
Going for it on his own 25-yard line in the third quarter. I mean, crazy. Both coaches are chasing two-point conversions. And Rick pointed out the Lane Kiffin thing to me yesterday because he knows I think Lane Kiffin's a really good coach. Yesterday, he was a freaking bonehead, and he's lucky his team bailed him out. But they're talented. They got a pass. I mean, there's some points scored in this game, but Mississippi plays better defense. Chambliss has played really good at quarterback out of nowhere. Ferris State. Who comes from Ferris State to play Division I, Power 4 conference football? Tremendous job and a good football game. And Oklahoma's in a little trouble now. That was probably an elimination game for them. I think their playoff hopes are dead.
Yeah.
Do you think that Mateer came back too soon? Just out of key. Yeah.
I do. I think his play has not been very good. He was better yesterday, but it hasn't been very good. Even yesterday, you could see through some balls that were just. And again, I'm not saying it's all the hand, right? I'm not going to give him that excuse, but he probably did come back too soon.
Yeah, that defense smashed him a few times too.
Coaches in trouble. If Oklahoma should fold down the stretch, we better watch out for Brett Venable being on the hot seat here because they've not had good seasons since he's been there. One good season since he's been there. That's it. So.
And Memphis upsets number 18 South Florida 34-31. That was a surprise too. And Memphis,
very good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. I'm not a big Memphis person, but wow.
It's a good team. They beat Arkansas at home this year. I mean, that's not a huge win, but it's a big win for a Group of 5 team. Whenever you beat a Power 4 conference team, and I thought South Florida was much better than Memphis because Memphis quarterback banged up, and they had a tough loss. I think that's probably motivated them. They had an ugly, tough loss to UAB last week. If you saw speaking of refereeing. If you go back and watch the end of UAB Memphis game last week, because on the last play of the game, it looked like they scored a long touchdown and they marked it down at about the 1/4 inch line. So Memphis had some wanted to come back, I think, from that, but they may be back in the driver's seat for the Group of 5 pick. This thing there's still 4 teams probably alive. Got to watch out for some sleeper there because the American looks like now they're going to beat themselves up. And if they beat themselves up enough, somebody like James Madison in the Sun Belt runs the table and all of a sudden is ranked and they're going to get that bid. So still a bit wide open. Fun. That's the one pick I really like to talk about every week. I love the fact that these teams get a chance to get in the playoff.
Yeah.
And Navy won again yesterday. 42 to
one of those
over Florida.
One of those four teams I'm talking about. Undefeated still.
Yeah. Hopefully they keep that up. Kind of the refereeing is. I know this is not. It's something that you don't want to say that your team wins or loses by, obviously, because your team is the one that's responsible for even letting the referees in the game. But it just seems that the level of reffing in both the pros and in college are just bad. I mean, real bad. And it's like I'm trying to figure this out. And I know they go to school to learn the rules in college football. I mean, and I know all plays are different when you're looking at them as a ref. You know, every play, no two plays are the same, even though it could be like an offsides or something like that. But no two plays are the same. So it's a fingerprint type of thing.
I got a question, B. You said that refereeing is bad. My question is it bad or is it controversial? I mean, considering the NBA scandal with the gambling, that could be you got to put that in the back of your mind. I'm not saying that it's happening, but you got to put that in the back of your mind and question whether or not there's some calls that you, with the naked eye, you look at things and saying, well, you got 7 or 8 guys, officials on the field, and nobody saw that. Yeah.
This is a huge distinction, right? What you said, bad and controversial, because and even controversial might not be the right word. I mean, because we're talking about somebody actually making a call for nefarious reasons, right? And that's the sad part about this whole scandal is that we're going to look at everything, and I saw it yesterday. You're going to hear people every time that there's whether it's a player, whether it's a referee, and something weird happens, you're going to go, told you. And it's not fair to the guys who are out there not doing that, which is 99.9% of the people, I would think. And it's unfortunate. But to the referee question in general, I always say, and I will always say, you can't let referees beat you. Don't put yourself in that position. That does not mean that the refereeing has not been times in both leagues. And I think college needs to go to maybe full-time referees. I think the NFL did that. I believe they're full-time employees now. They don't have other jobs, and maybe they do, but college referees still are not. And you just saw the SEC suspended a guy for the rest of the year for he had a couple of controversial calls in 2 different Auburn games. It's just the Lions, Brian. Auburn is the college equivalent, because every single game that they've lost, it seems, they've had a call that's gone against them that's either changed momentum or helped decide the outcome of the game entirely. So it's got to be better. They have to do something to improve. And again, because I don't want AI referees and umpires and everything else. My argument's going away. If the human guys are going to be as bad as they've been, my argument's.
You know what I think, Keith? Part of the problem is, and no one mentions this, the players are so much quicker than the referees. It's hard for the referees to get in position a lot of times. Keep in mind, players are going at a top level speed, and the refs just can't cut that way. They're not as well conditioned. They're older guys. I think that's part of it, as well. The speed of the game is so hard to keep up with.
That's what they got video replay for, though. I mean, you can make that
That's
excuse.
about how many calls can you appeal. I'm talking about
college. They can do every play. College, they look at almost every play. That's why it takes 5 hours to play some of these games, for crying out loud. But the NFL at least puts a limit on it. College can be awful with the slow down for replay.
Watching the Michigan State game, and I'm glad that Michigan won, but Michigan State did get a couple of really bad calls in that game, and I was like, wow. I mean, if you're a Michigan State fan, you're like, wow, they're really trying to move the needle toward Michigan winning this game, because there was a couple of them that were just blatant that they didn't call. There was a roughing the passer. Well, they called roughing the. Well, they picked up a flag for roughing the passer, even though the guy that hit him. He got hit from both sides, and one guy speared him with his helmet in the back. I was like, wow, they picked that up. It's like, it's got it. And you know what? I read a article by an analyst in ESPN, and he was talking about the same thing. And Keith, to your point, that people are going to start questioning everything. Fans are going to start questioning everything more than they do now. And it's just going to become a big mess. And people are not going to trust sports anymore. And that's what's going to kill it. But
it will.
We did. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, Jack probably remembers, well, maybe it almost killed college basketball back in the 50s, right? The scandals at NYU and all that. So
I'm not, you want to know something? The reality is, and this is going against the grain, nothing's going to kill sports. We kept hearing this whenever league strikes. We heard in baseball, we don't think the sport could withstand another strike. Of course it can. People are always going to come back. They're going to vent. They're going to be disgusted. Everyone always comes back.
Yeah,
won't-
I mean,
I
that
won't-
was a different time, Jack. Though I'm saying right now, this is a cancel culture society,
Not for
and
college sports, but no one's going to stop watching college football who watches it now. No matter how bad the officiating is, no matter how many controversies, they're still going to follow the games, follow the teams.
well,
yeah,
I mean,
but
pretty
if you
entertaining.
found out the games were fixed, like professional wrestling, you
There
wouldn't.
go.
You wouldn't
There you
watch.
go. They
I
don't
would
lose their following.
But I wouldn't watch. I mean,
They call
Yeah,
it.
the
Well,
same.
it's there. I mean, they
But the game's on
admit
fix.
it.
You can't. Let's
I'm
say
not saying
they
they
try.
are. I'm not
Let's
saying
say
they are.
they try to fix. Any major sport, college football, for example. How do you get everyone on the same page?
No.
It's harder to fix a game maybe than it is to play legitimately.
The thing that these scandals are, and most of the things that we've seen so far outside of the poker thing, which is way, totally different topic, really. It could be related somewhere, but not specifically. The thing where people are easily fixing games is the fact we've got all these player props that you can bet on. And that's what guys like Commissioner Brown or President Brown of the NCAA wants to eliminate, get DraftKings and these guys to eliminate these player props because they're easy to fix. That's what the Rozier thing is all about, right? And
But
it's much easier.
You're a fan, but what have we been talking about on this show? We've been talking about teams. I mean, we mentioned players, what they've done to contribute for the team, but we're not talking about 3 touchdown passes over and under. We're analyzing how teams are going. I mean, that's what carries any sport.
Until those other things all come into question. If you allow those things to happen, that will start to affect the games more and more and more. So, again, I think those things should go away. I'm not a prude, by the way, and I don't bet player props. Quite frankly, I bet games, but I'm not a prude either because I do gamble, but I'm not playing in the games either. So,
And I want to add to that, Jack. So if you're doing, like Keith said, if you're doing prop bets, and we mentioned Terry Rozier, who's to say that multiple players on the same team aren't called into play to do that? Would definitely affect the game for sure.
But the average fan does not bet. The vast majority of fans watch the game. They don't bet on the games. Let's say there's 15,000 people in the stands watching a game. How many do you think are betting? Only a small percentage actually putting down a bet.
How many? What would your number be? What would you guess?
Oh, easily less than 10% are actually
just-
betting on the game.
I disagree. That's true. They wouldn't be in business if there was less than 10%. I think
I'm talking
way
about the
more people are.
fans.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Gambling wouldn't be a thing if only 10% were betting. It has to be way more than that. There's no way.
at least 30 and maybe more.
No. Who goes
Yeah,
to
come
the
on.
game? Come on.
Even
I
if
mean,
it's
there was a World Series game in Toronto. You really think 3 out of 10 fans were placing a bet on the game?
Yes, it's too easy.
No.
It's too easy to bet now. If you can, your phone is right there at your hand. You can just press a button and say, "I want to do a bet on this particular thing," especially the props. It's there. There's no way it's just 10% is betting. That's not how businesses work. It's not profitable. If there's no market for it, why would you even put it out there?
Yeah, and they wouldn't be.
I think it's
They wouldn't be giving all this money to the leagues to advertise during their games if most of the people watching weren't gambling. So, or
yeah, I
trying to
believe
get-
that it's more than 30%. To tell you the truth, I think every 5 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Yeah.
I can't.
It's-
I'd love to see a survey taken, but for the life of me, I can't believe it. The man who takes his kids to the game, is he betting? I'm not talking about a little harmless bet. someone you know in the office. I'm going to bet you $10, $20, an office worker, on who wins this game.
That's
I mean,
a bet.
that's fine. I've been through that. I've went with a few of my friends to NBA games. And, we may make a $5, $10 bet amongst ourselves. I mean, I'm not counting that.
You're part of the
I'm talking
50%,
about
then, Jack.
serious betting.
That's a bet. It's still a bet.
But that's a fun thing. Come
Well,
on.
it's
I
fun
mean,
for
a
me, too, when
$5, $10 bet between two friends.
Me and DraftKings are good friends when they pay me money.
Right. Yeah, I think, Jack, that you're kind of looking at it really small. I'm telling you, the percentage of people who bet on games are a lot larger than you think they are. I'm they're giving it 30%. I'm thinking 50%. I think half the people in there are doing it because that's what it's about now.
Okay, but if they do bet, if your number's accurate, because I have no evidence here, I'm sure it's on their team to win or lose. It's not on player proposition bets. For example, I don't think you're going to have many. Let's use James Saints as an example. Saints fans putting down bets how many touchdown passes Spencer Rattler throws over and under one touchdown pass. I mean, more of them are going to be betting with the points for the Saints to win the game, as opposed to any player prop bets or what Alvin Kamara might do.
Well, I guess because that's what the gambling businesses are expecting you to do, because they like, okay, you're betting with emotions, so we're going to win money on you. So I would prefer that I mean, and a lot of people who are fans probably thinking they could win that, especially people with gambling habits. So I mean, look, I agree with Brian. I think it's probably 5 out of 10.
And that's another reason why, right there, you can change your bet partway through the game.
Why are you pointing at me?
And they make it convenience for you.
No, down to what Rick said.
Boy, I didn't know I was that big a problem. Jeez.
No, not you. Good morning, Linda. We got
Hello,
a-
Linda.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
impossible. Social media is just flooded, and it'll be awful. Social media will be unwatchable or unlookable, or whatever you want to call it. Anytime there's a controversial play, we see it now, and it's just frustrating because the majority, again, there's a big difference between what people think and what Linda's referring to is they think the leagues fix games. So they want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They wanted the Patriots in the Super Bowl. They want this. They want that. That's just not accurate. Specific individual situations like we've seen with Rozier and other players, that can happen easily, quite frankly. But not leagues and teams fixing games. That's not going to.
I mean, if you really
Most
want
fans are clueless. I hate to say it. They're
agree.
clueless.
100% agree.
Guys, we only got heat for 27 more minutes. Let's start hitting some
Yeah.
NFL. We're going to beat this up.
just the last point in
Thank
that too, with the betting. I mean, never mind because I lost my track of thought. Anyway,
I mean, you did that.
I did a key on that one.
Wanting to move on to the NFL.
Mid sentence, it's no fun, is it, Brian? It's not fun.
Yeah.
All right. So fortunately today we have no London games. Thank God. So everything's starting at 1:00. We got the New York Jets at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 6.5-point favorites. Jack, who you got?
That is worse than starting off with Arizona State, starting off with the Jets. I mean, that's
Jack, who you got?
Who do I got? I got to go. The Bengals. Yeah. I mean, the Bengals actually in contention. As bad a year as it's like been. What are they, 3-4? And the Jets are starting. Look, they're starting Justin Fields, and I'm kind of glad about that. I didn't want to go through a Tyrod Taylor series of games because he's not going to be their quarterback next year. Justin Fields, they have him on the contract an extra year next year. So at least I want him around as a backup for next year and them to draft a quarterback and see who else might be out there. How much offense are the Jets going to generate? Garrett Wilson's out. Justin Fields has no receivers. At least he could play somewhat competitively against the weak Bengal defense. Just running the ball himself, Justin Fields. But Sauce Gardner's out for the Jets, meaning Jamar Chase could have a field day there. Who are they going to put on Jamar Chase to guard him? And Flacco is good enough to get the job done. He's not a starting caliber quarterback anymore. So I don't want to hear all this Joe Flacco talk after the Bengals win today. But I think it's going to be competitive to the point where the Bengals win like 26-17. I think the Jets will hang and it won't be a blowout. But the Jets will be 0-8, and then Keith can start going down the list of, potential draft picks for the Jets if they pick first, which they're on track to do.
You won't find a longer analysis of this game anywhere today, by the way.
Yeah, and then that shouldn't be a long analysis.
But that was the game I started off with, remember?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Go ahead, James.
Go ahead, James.
I mean, the biggest question I have about this particular team is, that we're probably going to be talking about the end of the season, is how could the Browns trade to an in-division rival, Joe Flacco, and give them an opportunity to be successful? Now they're 3-4, and they're going to be 4. They're going to be 500 after this game. Because I'm done picking the Jets. I've tried to give you the benefit of the doubt for like up to 8 games, 7 games. Jack, I can't do it anymore. And so I agree with you that with Sauce Gardner out, they're going to have a field day in Cincinnati, and I think it's going to be more than 26-17. It'll probably be 31-6 or 0, like the same as their record of wins.
I'll make up for Jack's time here because similar to James, I've been saying for about 4 weeks, Jets got to win somewhere. Why not here? I'm not saying that anymore. Go Bengals.
Well, we have the Saints on our schedule, so I'm kind of eyeing that.
Yes. And is that at home or is that in New Orleans?
I think it's in New York. I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm not certain.
Oh, my apologies. Why did I even ask that? Does it even matter?
Played in the Bahamas.
That'll be for the number 1 draft pick. The number 1 draft pick team. Yeah.
Yeah, from what I've seen from the Jets, though, I think you basically got that in hand. Buffalo Bills at the Carolina Panthers. People are calling this a trap game. I don't know why. Buffalo's lost 2 in a row. I don't call that a trap game. Sorry.
You can say Sonia's name out loud, I think.
Yeah.
Say people. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, the Bills have lost 2 in a row. They're not losing at Carolina. Panthers are not a good team on balance. I mean, they're better than they were last year. They're trending towards, they're 4-3 now, but when all said and done, they'll probably be in the 8-9, range, their record at the end of the year. And I can't see Buffalo coming off a bye week and losing a couple of games in a row, actually losing this game. If Buffalo loses this game, it's a major red flag going forward, and more than a red flag even, that they're not as good as we thought they were, that they're lacking. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Carolina, isn't going to get blown out, but Buffalo should win by about 12 points or so.
Oh, there's no way. It's going to be closer than that. It's going to be closer. Look, they're an individual rival for the Saints. I don't like them, but I'm a person here of reason. And let me tell you, they are number 3 in rushing, at least, I think. They might be number 2 or 1 with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard playing.
Yeah.
Guess who's number 32 in run defense? Buffalo. They are bad. So and at home, if you can control the game, how do you do that? You run the ball. And underrated defense is Carolina's. That's one of the reasons why they got 4 wins. And besides the rushing, they're not bad. They're actually like either top 10 or middle of the road, somewhere around there. So if this had to be a trap game, this could be one. But until they win a game like this, I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills because, like I told Sonya on that show Friday night, you got to make me a believer to pick you. Or if you're a loser, you got to make me a believer that you're a loser, Jets. And I just think that that the Buffalo should win this game, but it's going to be a very tight game. It's going to be close, maybe 13-10, somewhere around there.
I think it's going to be much higher scoring myself. I think I like the over in this. Panther games go over like 17 of the last 25 games or something like that. So anyway, before I know that Panther fans will throw out the fact they're undefeated at home, and yes, they've been running the ball like crazy. And I'm going to tell you, and I did pick them to be better, 8-9. I thought this team would be improved, and I still think so. This is not a game I thought they'd win before this season. And I'll say the same thing before I even jump in on this part. The same thing applies to my team. The teams they've beaten are not good. They're really bad, actually. And the teams that they've been run the ball like crazy against are really bad. And I know Buffalo, the numbers say they're not very good. I think the Panthers will score some points today, but I think the Bills outscore them. I think this game is going to be about 34-27, quite frankly. So Bills win. Bills need to start getting Cook involved in this offense more. I know they're trying to limit his touches and reps to keep him fresh, but they need him to be in this offense, involved in this offense more. And anytime 17's on the other side, it's going to be hard to pick against them unless you're playing the Chiefs or the Patriots, I guess. But
also, Bryce Young is not playing.
And Bryce Young is not playing.
So you think Andy Dalton is going to actually beat the Buffalo Bills?
I think the running game would. That's why I didn't mention anything about the passing game.
They're coming off a bye week, so their running defense is going to be a little better because they've had this extra time. And they're really going
the whole season. You said you're needing one game to improve from 32nd.
Bye week, yeah. Teams coming up a bye week.
They're actually 31st, but
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Miami's worse.
So you're saying a bye week is going to get everybody in order to come from 31st to what? To be 30th?
The Bills, and you've lost 2 games in a row and then have a bye. Believe me, there's an urgency there.
But not for the run defense. You don't fix that in the middle of the season. That's when you do that. What you do is make sure you have the personnel there that can play defense and stop the run. That doesn't get better as you go along.
All right, so I'll give you this.
Back the box, and Andy Dalton is going to have a lot of one-on-one situations, but Andy Dalton is not a major threat to cash in on the one-on-one situations.
Panthers run for 250 yards and lose a game 34-27. There you go.
Buffalo, they are getting some defensive players back too. Some key defensive players back.
Yeah.
So that should help them out a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to change anything about their run defense, but that'll help a little bit at least. I also picked Buffalo as well. San Francisco at Houston. What you got there, Jack?
I don't really know what to make out of a game like that, except to say it's not going to be a high-scoring game. I mean, D'Amico Ryan used to be on the 49ers staff. They're facing him for the first time, the 49ers. And nothing's been wrong with the Houston Texans defense this year. Yeah. Their offensive line has been an absolute disaster. And C.J. Stroud hasn't handled it well. Could C.J. Stroud do a better job at quarterback than he's done, even though he's constantly, running for his life back there? Yeah, can do a better job. He hasn't done as good a job as he has after being a phenom in his rookie year. I don't see Mac Jones doing a lot of damage, to this Houston defense. The controversy going on with Brock Purdy and Mac Jones is this. You get the feeling the 49ers are holding Purdy out and avoiding the issue as long as they can because they keep saying, no, we don't want him playing until he's completely healthy, Brock Purdy. Well, if you have a franchise quarterback, you want to get him in as soon as you can. You're not taking the attitude, well, we have time, let him heal up. This gives them an excuse to stick with Mac Jones for the time being and avoid the big controversy. But I think when all's said and done, I'm going to go with the Texans to eke out a 17-14, victory today in Houston.
All right, James?
I don't know, man. I thought I just woke up in purgatory or something. I don't know. What's going on, man? How do you? So that's your decision. That's your opinion. I give you that. But did you count the fact that Nico Collins is not playing, Christian Kirk is not playing, and you just said that the quarterback is the issue here? He's got nobody to throw to and no offensive line, and you think they're going to eke out a win?
Legs, I said a low-scoring game. C.J. Stroud's not lied. He's 17-14. He can generate points with his legs.
But San Francisco, with no players that I wasn't a believer either when I thought of all these injuries that they were riddled with, they're still winning, and they're winning convincingly. It's just incredible. I would have to say that they have depth and they have good coaching, great coaching, and that matters in this league. And I think that's going to matter for them in this game. Obviously, they have George Kittle back. They have Mac Jones, like you mentioned, Brock Purdy. I don't think they were holding him. I think turf toe is a severe injury enough to where it's just really tough to gauge when you can come back. It's just he's not there. It's just I've seen it with all players that have had turf toe. It's just hard to come back.
Right. So
yeah. So I think the Niners are going to come down there. They'll get a win. They'll get another win, and they may win like they just beat the last. And Christian McCaffrey is healthy. He just come off a 200-plus all-purpose yard game. I think he's going to get some more of that down here, too, even with that defense. I just think that there's not much going on, and you got George Kittle back, so they have an opportunity. We can come back. You can text me, Jack. I'll give you permission to just let me have it if the Texans win this game.
Well, it's going to be a low-scoring, close game. That's the point I'm trying to make. I mean, Will Anderson might be the best play on the field, and his name hasn't been mentioned for Houston.
I'll give you the Texas defense against the run. I think McCaffrey gets controlled. I think they threat to throw. The 49ers lead the NFL in passing yards per game. Again, with Mac Jones playing the majority of those games, I think this is a close game. This feels like a 13-10 win to me for the 49ers on the road. Tough battle. I would take the Texans, quite frankly, if Collins was healthy and those wide receivers were healthy. I would take the Texans in this game, but their running game is not enough to carry them, as it might have been a couple of years ago. And this Texans defense, if there's a weakness, I think it's the secondary. Darryl Stingley, what is he, the third or the junior? I never remember. The third. Junior. Yeah, his grandfather was Darryl. Anyway, he has not played as well as he's played in the past. I mean, the teams are picking on him far more than they have in the past, and I think they might do that again today. So I think it'll be a close game, 13-10, low scoring. 49ers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans not because of their offense. I'm taking the Texans because of their defense. I think their defense is going to have to win this game. They're going to have to score points on defense. I think they can do it. That's the only reason why I'm picking them, because I'm not really a full believer in San Francisco yet. I mean, they're doing a heck of a job over there coaching. One of those teams on the edge. That's kind of they're an embarrassment away from, they're making it work right now, but it's not like they're blowing everybody out. They're winning games by the skin of their teeth. It's just. I just can't.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the overperforming. That's not true. That's not true. When you have injury to great players that you have on your team, your starters, and you're able to have depth, and you can still eke out wins. That's the mark of a great team. That's just incredible. I mean, I don't get what your logic on that. They're winning, and I don't like them. I'm not a fan at all, but they're winning, and they're winning against really good teams. I mean, it's like, wow, I was surprised at Mac Jones. But you got to give kudos to the coaching. Coaching and depth matters, and they have both.
Because here's the thing, Jack, you're going to say the total opposite thing about the Buccaneers, and you can make the same argument that they're just one blowout away from falling all apart because they're winning games so close. You are what your record says you are. That's it. That's all that matters.
Wins versus losses, right?
They may not stay that good, but they've won games. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter how. They ask how many, not how. So,
but the Bucs have rallied and won games, opening things up. The 49ers have won games being played very close to the vest, very conservative type games.
I would say that's more
The style is
efficient than what the Bucks have
The
done.
style is like
Right.
Right?
It's sustainability. You're keeping an even keel. You don't have to go too high, too low. If you can go right in that middle and stay where you are, man, that's what most teams can. That's all you can ask for.
A team like the Bucks has a lot of upside. I think with the Niners now, we've seen the best of the 49er team. The only question is, can they maintain this level? And it's going to kind of be hard for them.
I agree with Keith what he said, though.
Listen, this is going to be a close game today. It's a winnable game for the 49ers. I think it's going to be a very close game because Houston is, like you say, is not going to generate a lot of points. So that is going to make it a very close game. And if the Niners win, this is the type of game, if they're going to make the playoffs, this is the type of game you need to win.
I mean, I see it from both of your guys' perspectives, you know. So I'm still going with the Texans. I just think their defense has got to win a game for them. I'm not saying they can't. They're going to win or lose flat out, but you know, if they're going to win, they got to have the defense win for them because the offense ain't going to be happening. Next game is the Giants at the Eagles. Who you got, Jack?
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be a lot closer game than people think. I really do. People have the attitude because the Giants beat the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. The Eagles are so thirsting for revenge, and the Giants coming off a devastating loss to the Broncos that Philadelphia is really going to put it on them today. You know, I kind of like this Giant team. I hate to say it. I mean, they have upside going forward. That's what I like about them. But they're 2-5. They're not making the playoffs. But I can see them doing good things the rest of the year. You know, they have a great pass rush, even though they don't show up at the end of games. You know, after showing up most of games, at the end, something is lacking, like fatigue or whatever. Scatterboo has been a revelation. Jackson Dart's their quarterback of the future. With Malik Neighbors out, they're really no impact wide receivers. You know, but Jackson Dart could use his legs. They're going into Philadelphia. Wow, what a test for a rookie like Jackson Dart playing in front of a hostile crowd there. But I think the Giants show up and they play a really good game. And I could see this being an overtime game, but Eagles winning like 30-24.
James.
I got the Eagles winning. No. I mean, that's fair. Everything you just said is right on. I mean, I agree with it, but I'm sorry, Linda. I want to pick the Giants, but that debacle in against the Broncos, yeah, that's going to be tough. And I mean, now, mind you, it shows the fortitude and the drive of a team that can bounce back and come back and win from a game like that, but to give up 33 points in the fourth quarter to a team to lose eventually by a kick in regulation, that's tough. That's tough. And like Jack said, not having a Malik Neighbors and not having a number one wide receiver there, it's going to be tough. And I think the Eagles, they look like they're bouncing back, man. And that was without the only problem. They don't have AJ Brown's game, right? I think he's out with a hamstring injury.
No,
is he?
I believe
yeah.
he's
Yeah,
Okay,
he had
I
a great game last week.
Yeah, but I thought it was a hamstring injury. I don't know why I read that. Okay. Well, if he's playing, then I got the Eagles, and I think
Who's that?
AJ Brown. Yeah, is he playing?
But
Yeah, he's not playing. Yeah, exactly. He's not playing. He's not playing.
Are you
Nope.
sure?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I read that somewhere. He had a hamstring injury. So yeah, he's out.
There's something questionable, but not,
No, he was.
He's
That's
out.
all.
He's out until after the bye week. He's going to be.
I know the difference between questionable and out, Jack. I saw out. They said out, and so yeah, that's going to be tough for them. But I still think they win. I just think it might be a little closer. I don't think the scoring is as high.
I think the Giants suffer a hangover from last week's debacle as well. I think. Listen, I like Jackson Dart's makeup. I think he'll be fine in the long run, but I think in the short term, this is going to have some effect on this team. I do like Dart, and I like the relationship he's built with Robinson too, and who's becoming a really good NFL player. I thought he would be out of Kentucky, and he's been disappointing the last couple of years. But now he's got a quarterback that they're on the same page. But the Eagles, Brown or no Brown, I think Saquon Barkley will start to get some touches more. He got 11, and I think maybe 18 last week, so he got more. But they've got to get him involved more in this offense. He's the best player on the field. He's got to get the ball more, and I think you see the Eagles make a concerted effort to do that today. And I do think that while this game won't be a blowout, I think the Eagles will win it fairly easily.
Yeah, I have the Eagles as well. I don't think you can beat the Eagles twice in a season as good as they are, no matter what team is in your division. So, yeah, I got the Eagles as well. Okay, last one before Keith Mosey's on. Browns versus the Patriots. Who you got there? I'm gonna go with Keith first. Who you got there, Keith?
Well, I'm not going to pick against my team, but I work. It's funny that I have to temper my excitement at being 5-2 because similar to what we said about the Panthers, their wins are built on some pretty bad teams, other than the Bills. But that game shows me that they are for real, and the fact that they're suddenly touchdown or better favorites against teams like the Browns shows you that what do they call the mobsters? I probably shouldn't talk about them today anyway, but
they're all in the news.
You know something, right? I like this team. They're getting better every week. I love what Drake May, and I love what McDaniel and the way that Vrabel has put trust in him, and he is getting better and trusting them. And he's getting better every week. Every week he's getting better. Mistakes are less. There's still some trouble with the offensive line from time to time, but they're getting the most out of the skill position players. And I think this defense, while it's been a bit up and down, has been much better since Christian Gonzalez got healthy a few weeks ago. And I don't think this quarterback situation in Cleveland is going to allow for this team to score more than a touchdown today. I think the Patriots win and cover.
All right. And what do you got there, Jack?
Yeah, you mentioned the quarterback situation in Cleveland. I'm getting a little tired listening to Terry Bradshaw give his opinions on certain things over the years. Even though he's a knowledgeable guy, seems like a good guy. He says, I like this Dylan Gabriel. I like him a lot. Yeah, I remember at the end of last season, he says, why did the Giants need to go out and get a quarterback? They got Drew Lock. Okay, so let's talk about, like James says, receipts. And I'm sure he has plenty of these receipts. This could be a bit of a trap game for the Patriots. It could be. Cleveland's got a good defense, and it's not like the Pats have an overpowering offense. And Drake May is still in a developmental stage, even though we don't think of him that way, and this is second year. But with that said, I would just think the Patriots saw, a little better team, got a little better coaching. Dylan Gabriel is not going to scare anyone at the QB position. The Brown running game isn't going to do a lot of damage. So, the offense just has to play moderately well for the Patriots to win this one, because I don't think Cleveland's going to come up with surprises unless there are a ton of turnovers happening. I think the Pats are going to win decisive, actually, like 27-13, along those lines. And they've been a big surprise. I was wrong about the Pats. I didn't think they'd have a winning record this year, but winning today will put them at 6-2. It's going to be hard not to have a winning record, if they win today.
All these proposed things that are going wrong in the locker room. What happened to that, Jack?
Wait, but.
Let me get this in before Keith, you have to go.
If they lose today, it's going to snowball, and they will have a losing
season. God.
Look, the Pats are 5-2, like he said, man. And their two losses this is a issue here. Their two losses are at home. They are 1-2 at home. And so that might be a little bit of issue there. We'll see if they can switch that around and go 500. But I think the defense of Cleveland is still pretty good. Their offense, I'm not a Dylan Gabriel fan. I think he can play, at a basic level. And Jack, you mentioned the running game of Cleveland. The kid, Keyshawn out of Ohio State, he's got almost 400 yards rushing and a few touchdowns. So he since he's come back from whatever the issue was off the field, he's actually been playing pretty well. So I'm going to call this my trap game. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns on this one, but in a tight game.
Cleveland winning on the road at New England. It would kind of be ugly for New England to lose at home.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same thing, except that if the Cleveland Browns are at home, I might pick them. But it's the Patriots at home. Yeah, I understand they have lost two of their games at home too. But considering the teams that they did lose to, the Patriots lost to, the Browns ain't better than any of them. So I'm going to take the Patriots as well. And Keith, it is time for you to mosey on. You have yourself a great rest of the day, sir.
You guys too.
Appreciate you, man.
Go Pats.
Yep.
Go Pats. Sorry,
go.
Saints. Betting against the Saints today. Sorry. Bye.
That's every week. So it's legitimate. So
Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right. So, remaining games on the schedule, we have the Chicago Bears going to the Baltimore Ravens. Keep in mind that Lamar Jackson will not be playing, and there is an investigation going on for the reason why he's not playing. So, but anyway.
Wait. He was injured. You're saying he's being held out because there's an investigation?
No. Well, I'm saying he was injured. They made him pliable for this game.
Right.
Then they took him out, and now the investigation they want to know why this all of a sudden had to happen.
But that's not. But let's make it clear that's not on Lamar Jackson. That's on the team, the organization.
I didn't say it was on Lamar Jackson. I said that was the situation that they were in.
Yeah. No. That I know. Sometimes you don't know whether guy's ready to go or not. You think he's going to play, and then you see he's not quite ready the way you thought. There's a human element involved, but there's a certain paranoia, like we talked about with the betting in the league and the whole thing. Is it going to make a difference? The Ravens playing at home against the Bears not having Lamar Jackson? Of course. I mean, they're playing Tyler Huntley. I mean, he plays in the mold of Lamar Jackson. He's like an imitation of Lamar Jackson, not a great imitation, because Jackson can throw the ball well from the pocket, even though he's not given credit for that. Tyler Huntley doesn't throw the ball well.
You sure it's not Cooper Rush playing?
I believe they're starting Tyler Huntley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley are same level quarterbacks, but it's a different style. Tyler Huntley can run the offense better. And keep in mind, this is Tyler Huntley's second go-around with the Ravens. You know, he moved on from them, and then he got released by Cleveland. He's back with the Ravens. The John Harbaugh is obviously very comfortable with him. And he has had some success, you know, with the Ravens in the past. But Ravens, this is it for them. This is it. If they're going to salvage the season at all, we got to assume Lamar Jackson's going to be back next week. They've got to come through. It's intriguing in that I have no idea what Baltimore Raven team's going to show up. If they finally got it together and there's an urgency, we got to win this game, they're going to beat the Bears. You know, the Bears have won 4 in a row, but something about the Bears is missing. They're like still developing into like a contending team, but they're not there. And, you know, and with Caleb Williams at quarterback, he's still, you know, progressing little by little. Can Derrick Henry run the ball big time in this game? Because he's going to have to. I believe he will. I think the Ravens will manage to get a win without Lamar Jackson. I'm thinking more with my heart than my head here a little bit, because I'm thinking with my heart that the Ravens, like I said, absolutely need this game if they're going to go to the playoffs, because they're not going to run the table if they lose this game the rest of the way. And this is it. So with their backs against the wall, I gotta believe, coming off the bye week, the Ravens are going to respond and they'll manage to win a close one over Chicago.
You and I agree about Baltimore in regards to them. We both picked them to be Super Bowl contenders and to win the Super Bowl.
Champions,
And
yeah.
yeah, and so now looking at this, not having Lamar is one thing, but even with Lamar when they were playing, that defense was atrocious, and it's still
Yeah.
atrocious. And so I just think that Chicago's on the upswing. And so this is a time for them to pounce on the Ravens, literal bears pouncing on birds. And that's kind of what it's going to be like. And I think they're going to win convincingly in Baltimore. And going back to the situation with Lamar Jackson, I think Baltimore just knew that this is a make or break time for their trajectory to the playoffs, and they need their number one guy. And to put him at full status, in practice on, was it Thursday, Brian, or Friday?
Friday, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Friday. So and he was like he go from full status to what? Before prior to that was he was out.
Limited practice. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're questioning it right now.
The league is looking into that.
But
so
I got.
Bears?
I'm going to Bears. Yes.
All right. And to your point there too, also remember that Jack, the Bears are 4-0. They haven't lost in 4 games, so they're doing pretty. They're on a roll. I'm gonna go with the Ravens only because you say that the Ravens defense is bad. Well, Chicago's rushing defense is actually worse than the Ravens. So if they can get Derrick Henry running, and believe me, Chicago has been making it through these games, but they've been getting run on a lot. So I'm gonna go with the better running back, one of the best running backs in the league. It's at home against the Ravens. I have more faith in Tyler Huntley running the offense than I do Cooper Rush. Tyler Huntley is actually, more familiar with Baltimore's offense because he's been there for like half his life. So I'm going to give that edge to the Ravens. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I do. Because I think that Ben Johnson's going to get that offense going. I mean, regardless of what the defense looks like as far as the rushing compared to the two, the passing defense is still bad for the Ravens. So unless they get that, and the Ravens got some guys coming back. They do. They got some guys coming back. So I'm just going to give it to the Ravens on the edge, and something like maybe 28-24 or something like that.
We don't know. This is gut check time for the Ravens a couple of ways.
That too.
I'm very disturbed the way they've been losing their games, being 1-5. They've been non-competitive. That's the worst thing that can happen to a team. It's one thing you're losing a lot of like hard luck games, like a lot of close games. It doesn't go your way. You have a missed kick, a turnover, this or that. They haven't really been competitive in these games. I mean, even though I'm picking the Ravens, I can see James's point. I wouldn't be flabbergasted if the Bears blow them out or win something like 34-10. I wouldn't be in shock, like, oh, what happened? Because that's the way the Ravens season has been going. I'm just going back to my preseason feeling about the Ravens, the type of team I thought they've had. They're coming off the bye. It's like we're giving them one last chance. It's like you're the boss in the office of someone that's working for you and they have been screwing up. They finally come in the office and this is it. You've been given one more opportunity. You better respond and get it right, okay? No more slack, no more second chances. That's what I think it's come down to with Baltimore today. If they lose this game, especially if they perform poorly, season's gone. I mean, you're not suddenly going to Lamar Jackson, I know he's been compared to Superman in NFL terms. He's not going to fly in with his cape and like have this miraculous turnaround if they can't even be competitive without him.
And to James's point too, I mean, if your defense is bad, that's not going to just, not carry over. Even if Lamar Jackson comes back.
The 5 weeks help. And They've got
Yeah.
certain talented players there. Just they haven't played.
They
well,
need to get a win. They need to get a win right now.
badly.
If they don't get a win right now, you're right. That this season is going to be pretty much in shambles for Baltimore. I hate to say it. All right. Next game that we have here is the Miami Dolphins, exciting game of the week. Miami Dolphins at the Atlanta Falcons. Who you got, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this is the debate we're going to have next week. I mean, it's a perfect spot for Kirk Cousins starting in place of Michael Penix. You know, perfect for Kirk Cousins to show he can still play at a high level, which he can't, by the way, but he could show it in a game like this against the Miami Dolphins, you know, especially home with Atlanta. And I got to go with Atlanta here. How can you pick Miami to beat anyone else at this point unless they show us something? And you kind of wonder about the future with Tua at Miami. I mean, there are a few whispers coming up that maybe he's going to get benched. And Tua did himself no favors by blabbing about the team, you know, a couple of weeks back, even though he apologized. And is Quinn Ewers for him along the way where they could possibly think he could be their quarterback of the future, perhaps, to give him a look? And I don't know if Mike McDaniel's getting fired, guys. We always keep talking about coaches getting fired, but you have to know the coach's relationship with the owner. Mike McDaniels might not be even close to being on the hot seat, even though we're assuming, if they lose, this might be it. We haven't heard from the owner. Atlanta's a better team at this point. They should win something like 26-13, and Kirk Cousins should perform well enough because of who he's playing against.
What you got, James?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Jack. I just think everything he said was just on point in regards to both teams. Now, one thing I will say in regards to Kirk Cousins, I think he can still play. I think if he's healthy and he's not injured like he was last season, to the latter part of the season before he was actually had to sit down, he can still play. He showed he could play. I just think that this might be an audition for him. This might be an audition prior to the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Some team may want to grab him, and so or the Falcons, if Michael Penix is relatively hurt still, they may want to keep him and let him ride it out, and then sit Michael Penix for the rest of the season. So I just think that the Falcons, again, they as much as talented as the offense is for Miami, and they have a decent defense. I think Atlanta's offense is equally as talented, and all their players are on the field. Outside of who was it Ray McLeod? He was cut. Was he cut?
Mm-hmm. He
I
went
think
to the Giants. Yep.
Yeah, he went to the Giants. So that's one less guy you have, and I think they have another guy they can fill in. The rest of the guys are talented on that team. Mm-hmm. So I think at home, Atlanta should win this game.
Yeah, this is my blowout of the week right here. You got Kirk Cousins coming in. He's got something to prove. I think at this point in his career, he's still a better quarterback than Penix. And then they're in Atlanta. And they're playing the Miami Dolphins, who can't stop a tick right now. So, I mean, it's all setting up for them to be, putting up at least 30, 40 points on this team. As far as Mike McDaniel's concerned there, Jack, let me tell you something. An owner will get rid of a coach as soon as the team starts failing if they don't bring into ticket sales. Them seats start getting empty, bye-bye McDaniels, because that's what they make their living on, is getting those people in them seats. So if he doesn't perform, he's going to be out. And I don't see him lasting for another couple of games. As much as they want to keep saying, we're not going to get rid of Mike. Okay. Yeah. Watch when your bottom line starts dropping. Money talks.
Yeah, but talking about Kirk Cousins auditioning, I don't go for that because the Falcons would have to pay him virtually his entire salary, which is extremely substantial. And they're not going to trade him to another team for a fifth-round draft choice, let's say. It's not worth it for them to pay all that money. He has more value to the Falcons as an insurance policy because they're still contenders at this point. the Kirk Cousins isn't going anywhere unless some team makes a crazy bold move like a second round draft choice to the Falcons. Then the Falcons would maybe do that. But he's going to be with the Falcons. Is he better than Michael Penix now? It doesn't say much for Michael Penix if that's the case. I'm not that high on Michael Penix. Can he be a good starting quarterback down the road? I'm not sure. He's not accurate with his throws, Michael Penix. But Kirk Cousins, yeah, he can run an offense like Joe Flacco. I mean, these guys can come in and win some games for someone now and then, but he's not the answer at all, Kirk Cousins.
We will see.
Well, they'll beat the Dolphins, and he should do well today in this situation.
Yeah, this is a gimme game, actually.
Yeah.
They probably could put any of us at quarterback and win this game. But anyway, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to New Orleans and facing the Saints. Who do you got, Jack?
Yeah, the Bucs will win, and it's not going to be a close game. I feel for Mike Evans, who is going to be out a while, with his injury, because he was tied with Jerry Rice for 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He's not going to make that now. But the good news for the Buccaneers is chances are Mike Evans will be back for the playoffs, assuming they make the playoffs, which they probably will. Baker Mayfield, I like Baker Mayfield. I like his attitude. He's ticked off at the way he played against the Lions. He's ticked off at the officials, and he's ticked off at himself. He's ticked off with the way he played. He's going to come back with a vengeance, today against the Saints. Now, that was the Monday night game, right? Against the Lions.
Yeah.
Do we ever consider that in our picks, that one less day? It's a little bit of a short week, and it's a night game. So they have a little less than a day plus, they played later. I think that's always a little bit of a factor, but I think, the Buccaneers are going to be ready to let it rip today. And I got to ask James, after he gives his preview of the game, the Saint quarterback situation, is there any clarity on it going forward? Because Spencer Rattler, you don't want to give up on a guy like that, but you don't have 3-4 years like in the old time NFL to develop him, and because you could have him for 3 years and then see this guy isn't my answer after all. I learned that with the Jets with Geno Smith. He was there 1 year, and I didn't know whether they should go forward with him or not. I wasn't sure. So you give him a second year, and then it's not working out.
Yeah, well, the situation in New Orleans right now is that Spencer Rattler is the guy. And early on in the season, that Kellen Moore stated that, hey, Spencer Rattler, is the quarterback for the foreseeable future. And he spoke as if he's believed him for the full season. But then the last communication this past week was that he seemed to backtrack that a little bit and said he's more on a week-to-week basis. So, and which makes sense. If they're not winning games, they're not in contention for playoffs, you got a second-round draft pick and a quarterback that's 27 years old. So you want to see what you got in him rather sooner rather than later, because you don't know for sure if he's going to be, how old he's going to be when he starts playing, or if he ever starts playing. And, you have to kind of justify that you took him in the second round, which is relatively a high draft pick, even if it is for a quarterback. So with that said, did you make your pick? You made your pick? You picked the Bucs, right? So
31-14, I'll call it.
I'm not calling it 31-14. I've been picking against my team, and I picked them to win the Bears game, and then they didn't win that game. But I'm going to pick them to upset the Bucs at home. I just think that Baker Mayfield made some bulletin board material in regards to saying that he hates the Saints and he thinks we play dirty. So, okay. I don't think they play dirty at all. I mean, unless if you're counting Bountygate, but I haven't seen any of that at all. I just think they get beat outright with no dirtiness happening. But with that said, I like Rattler to bounce back. I think the kid's resilient. He's been protecting the ball mostly. He just hadn't been doing enough to try to win the game. I think he tried to do that in Chicago, and he wasn't really on the same page. But his rapport with Chris Olave the past 2 games has been great. And so he had 2 touchdowns this past game. He had 1 the previous one. I think they continue that this one, and I think it's gonna be a close game. It may be like a 24-21 game, and I think the Saints has an upset here.
I got a proposed trade for you. I don't know why it popped into my head. Jaden Waddle kind of is hinting he wants out of Miami. He doesn't want to be there. Him for Chris Olave even up. If you could work the finances up. That's a heck of a good deal for both teams.
No. I like Chris Olave where he's at. And we got him and Jalen Waddle's contract is outrageous.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah. He gets hurt too much.
Right. And we got Chris Olave. Don't get me wrong. Chris Olave hasn't been like the model of good health with all those concussions. But with that said, we can get him for $15 million next year with the 5th-year option. I'd rather pay that than pay what they pay on Waddle right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. This is gonna be one of those. It's not gonna be a blowout, Jack. First of all, the same thing is happening with the Bucs that happened last week. They still don't have Irving. They still don't have Godwin. Now they don't have Mike Evans. All they got is Igbuka, and
which is great.
So some kind of running game. They're still out of offensive guard. And an offensive
the defense
tackle
is healthy though, and that
but the defense is fine.
Really
well. They're kind of shaky too on some of that. And I would say that going to the Saints, don't underestimate this. Saints been in every game they played this year except for one, and that was against Seattle, where they just got humiliated. But even going to the Bears, they played really good against the Bears. So I'm saying when they go to the Saints, I'm not saying that they're going to win the game, but it's not going to be a blowout, Jack.
No, I hate the term blowout. I like Baker Mayfield's attitude. James mentions bulletin board material for the Saints. When Baker Mayfield talks like that, he gets his own team psyched to get behind them. We're going to give it to him. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. He's rallying his own troops. So the other team has bulletin board stuff. Who's going to rally more? The Saints looking at Baker Mayfield making those remarks. And it's not personal against the players and the Saints, he said. It's not like he has a personal grudge, this player, that player, for them to get.
It is personal if you say you don't like them. He said that outright. I don't like them.
That's okay. And the Bucs players are going to follow Baker Mayfield. Yeah, we don't like them. We're going to kick their behinds. So I don't want to hear this bulletin board stuff. This is the NFL. You got to get up for these games. And the Buccaneers have something more to play for, in a game like this, because they're only one game ahead of the Panthers. I don't think the Panthers are ever going to catch them this year, not at all. And I think the Buccaneers are going to win the division comfortably when all is said and done. And the Falcons are still technically in it as well. But the Saints players, they look at the standings. They're like us. A lot of them are NFL fans. They're looking, and it's hard to get up as far as what are they playing for? They're playing week by week. They want to do well because it's their livelihood, their career, their contracts. I get all that. But it's human, the motivation thing, the will to win, I think is greater for a team always like the Buccaneers, because of what they could play for as opposed to the Saints.
Well, I will say that the Saints definitely have their hands full in regards to not having Eric McCoy to starting center going up against Vita Vea. And that's going to be a tough matchup there.
It's Vita Vea Hall of Fame. Vita Vea Hall of Fame or not? Is he trending?
He's a true nose guard, and he plays well, and he's all pro at that level. So I would say yes. I would say yes.
He on the cusp right now. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. The thing about Baker Mayfield is that when you get shut down as bad as you got shut down on Monday night, the Lions defense was all over him. I don't care what you say about the refereeing in that game. Yeah, there was a couple calls that you probably could have won. That wasn't going to win them the game, though. The defense was on him, white on rice. So there's no way he was winning that game.
But I love when Baker complained that shows how how he is the competitor. He doesn't give a darn. The refs screwed us. I could have played better, but we got screwed by the refs, and he doesn't give a darn, Baker. He has this gung ho attitude, and I think it's perfect for the Saints for the time being, at least.
I think I picked Baker Mayfield as being a great quarterback when I saw him at Oklahoma, and I was like, this guy. He's always had that chip on his shoulder. He's not that tall, not the strongest arm, but he had accuracy and can move around the pocket, and he had that moxie. And so he still has it. It's no different. And I think that his rookie season in Cleveland was great, but then things fell off. And for whatever reason, he made a few stops in a couple other teams. But I think he's found a home in Tampa Bay, and that's their franchise guy. And to me, I put him up there. If he had the right amount of players and everything, I put him up there with Drew Brees, man. He's for that type of his moxie and the type of arm. No, I'm not saying that he is Drew Brees.
You got to get it right at this moment. He's not quite, up to the level of Drew Brees. Drew Brees, great quarterback. Baker, when all's said and done, maybe Baker Mayfield gets there if he could keep playing like this for years. But
he's in the contention for MVP right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan. You don't have to convince me.
He did drop a Monday night's game, but
yeah, I thought it was going to happen last Monday. I thought they were going to have one of they've won so many close games. They were going to have an off night against the Lions, and it turned out that way.
Well, I think most likely because the Lions caused that off night. But anyway, the question I need to ask of you, James, if I'm just saying, if I'm not prosecuting, this is going to happen to Rattler, but if he does bad in this game, like if he throws like 3 interceptions, do you think that the coach would yank him out and put in Shook?
Without a doubt. It all goes back to what I mentioned earlier, is that they have to at some point see what they have in the quarterback that they drafted at number 40 overall. And so and the goal is to win games. That's the bottom line. And if you can't get that or at least be competitive because don't get me wrong, Troy Aikman was 1-11 or 12 or something like that. You have other quarterbacks who have lost a lot of games.
Overall choice. You can't compare the guy that picked 40th to the guy who got picked first.
No, I'm not speaking. I'm thinking about Spencer Rattler in the 5th. I'm just saying, as a guy who wasn't picked for number 1 overall, he's still a good quarterback that needed time to develop. And you can't count all. And a lot of people like to count all the losses that he had last season, but it's kind of a wash because they had like 43% of their team starting offense gone, and so he played with pretty much guys off the street, and and there were some flashes there. So and in the off season he won the job because he can play, and so I don't think he's going to throw 3 interceptions in this game.
No,
but if he does, yeah, hypothetically, if he does, I do think that they look at Tyler Shough.
Maybe the question should have been more to see how much of a leash is he on right now. If he's got a short, if the plug will get pulled, if he shows any,
It's week to week. That's what the coach said.
The implications are always huge in situations like that, because once you pull the plug on Spencer Rattler, that's it. He's no longer going to be your quarterback of the future. The only way that could possibly happen if then Shough gets injured, Rattler gets thrown in and reclaims the position. We saw something happen like that with the Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young. When they sat him down, he was playing terribly. He managed to reclaim the job because Andy Dalton then got hurt. So they had to throw Bryce Young in again, and he performed reasonably well when they put him in again. So they gave him the opportunity, to reclaim the job. But once they move on from Spencer Rattler this year, Tyler Shough would probably be the quarterback the rest of the year. and then they'll make an evaluation on Tyler Shuck, probably during the year, saying, look, neither one is our guy. We got to draft someone else. They could stay on the roster. It's a big move to move on from Spencer Rattler. It's major stuff because you're not pulling the plug on him short term. You're pulling the plug probably on his futures in New Orleans Saints.
Well,
I agree.
It's about what Shook does too when he comes in for him. If he totally lays an egg, that's not going to happen. Rattler's going to start the next game.
Well, what Jack is saying though, if Tyler Shuck is probably the guy coming in, he's probably going to be a guy for the rest of the season, so they can see what they have in him for the rest of the year. Because at some point we're picking number 2, number 3, overall, maybe possibly number 1, and you got to see if there's a guy in the next year's draft pool or free agency that you can take and bring in as a quarterback.
Doesn't look like there's anyone out there who's going to be available in either free agency or college that kind of blows you away, at the quarterback position.
I think Rattler has overachieved, and Rattler, that's why he's got the starting position. I just don't think that it will be wise to take him out because, again, watching him play.
I got another brilliant deal for the Saints, okay? Rattler for Anthony Richardson.
No way. No way. First of all, Rattler can tie his shoes without falling down and injuring his ankle or finger or something like that.
Richardson has upside.
No, there is no way.
Okay. We have the Dallas Cowboys going to the Denver Broncos. They're in Mile High. Broncos are favored by 3.5. Who you got, Jack?
Yeah, I mentioned this point to Keith Engel, I think on the Monday show. I don't believe I mentioned it on last Sunday's show. The giant collapse against Denver maybe had to do with the altitude somewhat. No one wants to hear that, certain conditions, but they fell apart. It's very difficult to play in Denver because of the altitude. It doesn't mean you can't win at Denver. Teams could go in there and they do win at Denver now and then. But you kind of wonder, this is a very evenly matched game. And Dak Prescott's been magnificent this year. He's played as well as any quarterback. And to have Lamb and Pickens, the weapons he has, and the Cowboy defense, played a little better the last game. With that said, we might be looking at another overtime game here. I'm going to go with Denver at home. I just don't trust the Cowboys enough to pick them to win at Denver. Something about the Cowboys, I can't put the faith in them. I know they have upside. I know they have potential. The Cowboys are 3-1. For all we know, they could make the playoffs, or they could finish the darn season at 7-9-1. They're very unpredictable. I'll put a little more trust in Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, who, even though they didn't show it against the Giants for most of the game, they really have an elite defense, the Broncos, and the Cowboys have the exact opposite.
James.
I'm going to say that you got the number 1 offense, regardless of Mile High and the altitude issues. The number 1 offense coming against the number 3 defense. And the number 3 defense didn't show much in that game against the Giants. And the Giants' offense is not all that great. So, and they were, like I said, they were playing there in high altitude. So, I don't know. They're going to play a much better offense with Dallas, and I like Dallas to upset here. I think they're gonna go in. Dallas, now mind you, the score might be high for both teams, but I don't. Bo Nix has been a little shaky his sophomore. Might be a little bit of a slump here, and the run, and there's some more bulletin board material here. The running back Javonte Williams was drafted by the Broncos, so he may want to go in and show that, hey, you messed up just because of my knee by letting me go. And so I think that the Cowboys go in there and win that game. And there's no debate. Now, don't mind you, again, they have the worst defense in the league. So Bo Nix and company should bounce back a little bit, but I still think there's going to be trouble with that offense with Dak Prescott being MVP contention as well. So I like them. I like Dallas.
Yeah, why do you think you mentioned in Bo Nix in his second year has been struggling? Why these second-year quarterbacks, Bo Nix, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, who were outstanding as rookies, why do they seem to, or most of them seem to take a step back the second year? And the ones that struggle a little in the rookie year sometimes are getting better in their second year. Why? What's behind that dynamic?
It's more film on you. Everybody knows what you can do now. And so we got to figure out, the game plan against you to stop you and slow you down if you're like a great rookie coming in. And then, of course, the game plan also for rookies is probably tailored to their skill set. It's not like they just know the full playbook and can just outright do everything right away. And so they start to, you progress, but it's still your second year. And so I'm pretty sure they don't know the full playbook like you would think like a seasoned veteran like Drew Brees or Tom Brady or, one of those guys would have known and could just figure out everything season to season. That second year is tough because, again, everybody has film on you and they know what you're doing. And so I think that's just it.
This is another game that I'm going to probably pick based on the fact that who's home and who's away. I like Dallas's offense. Dallas's offense, as you alluded to, is number 1 in the league. And Denver's defense is number 3. But Dallas's defense, bad. They had the Denver Broncos, our rushing offense is number 6 in the league. And they're going against the number 32nd. I remember I said Baltimore had the worst. Well, they don't have the worst. They have the 31st. And Dallas has the 32nd. So there you go. And being the Broncos are at home, I think that they're not going to make the same mistake and spot them 19 points. They're going to be more focused on shutting down. And it's going to be hard because CeeDee Lamb and Pickens out there and Ferguson. Let's not forget the tight end. He's been showing out too. And you got it right about the Javonte Williams. Dallas is trying to flip the script like they did with Carolina. Carolina came in there, whooped them with Dotto. So I guess Javonte is owed one to Denver, huh? So with that being said, though, I would have to – I'm still taking the Broncos because they're at home. And this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a better game than most people think it's going to be. It's going to be a really good game.
Well, it's going to be – wait. Who thinks it's not going to be a good game, Brian? I mean, it's a good – no one thinks this game's going to be a blowout going in.
I said it's going to be a really good game, Jack.
It is going to be a really good game. I mean, with Dallas's receivers and Dak throwing to them, come on.
You got Surtain back there. You got Surtain back there covering one of those two.
That's going to be an interesting matchup. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I love some of these great one-on-one matchups. Like I used to really enjoy Jerry Rice going against Deion Sanders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Our next game is the Tennessee Titans going against the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. And, of course, the Colts got a 14.5 point favorite. Who are you going with, Jack?
Yeah, the team most likely to win today, most likely is Indianapolis. I mean, I don't see much of a path for the Titans to score an upset or beat hardly anyone. And, you saw on the news this week, the Titans say, oh, no, we're not trading Cam Ward to Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, it would be unheard of. Imagine they tried to trade Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick in the draft. What are you going to trade him for? I mean, really. And Jeffrey Simmons would have real value, real value. I think they'd get a number 1 draft choice for him, number 1 plus. But why trade him? I mean, he's a foundational player there, great player. And but I see this being a ramp for the Colts. Let's call it 38-7. Daniel Jones has done a great job, but Jonathan Taylor's that team's MVP this year. And people aren't talking about Jonathan Taylor that much because Daniel Jones is a quarterback in a more charismatic position. But he's been the difference, Jonathan Taylor. And Daniel Jones, kudos to him. He's done a heck of a job, at quarterback. And the Colts are good all around. They've been blocking for him. They've been good on defense. I mean, Tyler Warren, their tight end has been really good. And I know James liked to tease me with the Jets. Well, he thinks they should have taken them, blah, blah, blah. Could you imagine the Jets 2 years in a row took tight ends, Brock Bowers and Tyler Warren, instead of offensive linemen, Fashion Omeru?
We wouldn't be talking about them in the top 5 draft pick for 2026 if they did that. If they had both those kids, we'd be talking about them going to the playoffs.
Well, I wouldn't go that. No, I wouldn't talk about them with the playoffs, but especially Brock Bowers. He's a Hall of Fame type player. I won't go that far with Warren, but Colts are so good all around. I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. I'm not that carried away, but they look obviously well on the way to the playoffs unless there's an unexpected collapse.
What you got, James?
Who would think I'd be talking about the Titans as having more victories than the Jets this season? And with that said, it's only one.
And that was a gimme.
Yes, they're 1-6, and the Colts are 6-1. Of course, the Colts are going to win this game. I'm not going to waste any more time on this. Like you said, everything about the talent that's on the offense. Daniel Jones, all those receivers, and the engine that drives that game is Jonathan Taylor, or drives that team rather, and it's going to continue. And it's at home in Indianapolis. This will be a debacle in epic proportions if they lose this game to the Titans, and so a blowout. The 14.5 point spread. I might be looking to betting that because I think they got to do more than that.
If something crazy happened and the Titans won the game, it would be because all of a sudden Cam Ward came of age and was absolutely sensational, throwing 5 touchdown passes and being a revelation, but that's kind of fantasy land.
We really need to call the FBI hotline and figure out if there's some issue with gambling scandals there as well. Yes.
I'll be talking about 6 games if the Titans win this.
Well, I mean, the Rams aren't a bad team. They should have won that game. Actually, they should be undefeated if you think about it. But they dude drops a pass or he throws the ball out like a dumb.
Adonai Mitchell is his name. Let's put his name out there. One of the most boneheaded plays. Hopefully, he doesn't ever do that again.
Players don't learn. You saw CD Lamb, running to the end zone for a touchdown, and he's kind of holding the ball like this. They don't get it. They should have drills where they run over the goal line holding the ball. Teams should condition the guys. And, that was awful with Adonai Mitchell.
It's like this. Human nature will tell you that you're not going to believe anything until it actually happens to you. And that's the thing that I bet you that receiver from Indianapolis will never drop a pass like that. And he won't be so free willy with that ball when he gets to the end zone. I'm guaranteeing that. Any of those players that do that a second time, you need to be fired because if you do it the first time and you learn from it.
I forgot her name, but there's even something like that in the Winter Olympics a few Winter Olympics ago. One of the skaters had it won by a very big margin, and she started celebrating her hands up before the finish line and fell. And by the time she got up, she lost the gold medal, became a silver medal. But it was heartwarming that about 12 years later, she actually came back and won a gold medal. I don't know why her name escapes me right now. But these celebrations, that they're like conditioned to be a certain way. And I'd love to see one coach condition his team where they have drills, how you run over the line with no one guarding you, how you're expected to hold the ball.
Yeah, again, you could teach a player all that stuff, but it's a human nature. If it's not, it doesn't happen to you, you're not going to think it's going to happen to you until you actually do it and you look like a fool.
Yeah.
Then you won't do it again. That's basically what it is.
The only player that I saw that was successful at holding the ball in one hand in 20 yards out before he scored the touchdown is Deion Sanders, and no one else is. He's an anomaly. And so everyone else should, especially if you're an offensive player, you should hold the ball with two hands and wait, or tuck it into your elbow. And I mean, that's fundamental. It's basic fundamentals, elementary stuff. And the guys showboat and cost your team a potential win by doing dumb things.
Yeah. All right. For one of the other games of the week, Sunday Night Football, we have the Green Bay Packers going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, an Aaron Rodgers fest all the way. Green Bay is actually favored by 2.5 points. Who you got, Jack?
Yeah, I know it's Green Bay going against Aaron Rodgers playing against his old team. It's not as sentimental as people are making out to be because the game's in Pittsburgh. If the game was in Green Bay, yeah, it would be very sentimental. It'd be tremendously exciting. It would be like the equivalent of Tom Brady coming back to play the Patriots in New England. When he did, he came back in front of the crowd he played for years. It wouldn't be as big, Rodgers, with Green Bay because he wouldn't be going against Belichick, even though he'd be going against his old coach and Matt LaFleur. The Steelers have overachieved a little this year. Aaron Rodgers, a very compelling personality, slipped under the radar. We're hardly talking about him. He's played well on balance. He's played well. Okay, and are they building something in Pittsburgh offensively? Because it seems like they're getting a little better every week on that side of the ball. And for the Packers, Micah Parsons has been what they traded for. He's been a force. He's been a disruptor. Can Pittsburgh keep him at bay? If they could keep him at bay, give Rodgers time, they could win the game. But I think when all is said and done, Packers are just a little bit the better team. And I know they're at home in Pittsburgh, but Packer fans always travel very well. So they're going to have some support, in Pittsburgh. So I see the Packers winning like a thriller towards the end, something like 24-21, where Rodgers plays well, but the Pittsburgh defense that was supposed to be their strength under Mike Tomlin, you tell me what's happened to them. They haven't been good this year, and if they were going to accomplish anything, it would be because of their defense, and it's been kind of just the opposite.
What you got, James?
I mean, there's several storylines here. We got Aaron Rodgers, regardless whether it's in Pittsburgh or Green Bay, he's still playing against his former team, and I know he wants to try to stick it to them, no matter what people are saying. I'm pretty sure he wants any player. That's just human nature. You're going to want to beat your former team. The Steelers, they played the Green Bay 6 times in Pittsburgh, and Green Bay hasn't won a game since 1970 in Pittsburgh. There's 6 games that they played there, and they haven't won. That's another storyline. Another storyline here: Micah Parsons is coming off a 3-sack game. Decisive as a edge rusher, and that offensive line for the Steelers and that pass protection in the pass game, they're ranking like the top 20. I mean, not top 20, they're ranked in the 20s. So it's not that great. And so I think Micah Parsons might have a good game here as well. And I'm pretty sure he wants to sack Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he's done that before, but it's probably on his to-do list. That being said, I got the Packers winning their first game in a long time against the Steelers there. And I think, like Jack said, it's probably going to be close, maybe like a 24-21 game. But I got the Packers winning.
Okay, so I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan. And I don't like the Packers. Obviously, you know that. Let me tell you some things here. Aaron Rodgers is going to be fired up for this game. He did say he wanted to retire a Packer, which is that's cool. I mean, you might as well. You've been with that team for most of your career, so that's honorable. But at the same time, this is the one he beats Green Bay. He'll be one of the 5 quarterbacks that beat all 32 teams. That and the fact that the Packers, they're 4-1-1, but the 1-1 that I'm having a problem with the Packers is the 1-1. They lost to Cleveland. That's bad. That's real bad. Then you tied to Dallas in a homecoming for Micah Parsons. And he didn't do nothing in that game until the very end of that game, basically, in stopping Dak. So I don't have a real sense of how, and the Packers barely beat Cincinnati in Green Bay. It's, the only real good win that they have this season is against the Lions. So, I mean, if they're going to carry that all the way through, I mean, okay. I just don't have faith in them right now. I don't have faith in them being a good team. I want to see something turn on in Green Bay to make me hate them even more. But I'm going to take the Steelers on this one because I just think the Steelers are just going to continue on with the tradition of beating Green Bay every time they come to Pittsburgh. So I'll take that.
Let's not forget, Christian Watson is back. So it's another weapon for Jordan Love too to play in this game, and one less weapon for Aaron Rodgers because there's no second guy next to DK Metcalf to really like light up their defense. I just don't see it. I just think that Green Bay is a better team than them and than the Steelers, and that I mean, again, Micah Parsons. I think he's gonna give problems. He's gonna give Aaron Rodgers some problems.
Okay, so Monday night we have the Washington Commanders / Redskins, if you want to be that way, versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you got there, Jack?
Chiefs should win this one handily. Marcus Mariota starting in place of Jaden Daniels, who's out this game. And Kansas City's on an upswing. I mean, they're about as healthy as they've been in a while. And I look for Pacheco to have a lot of success running the ball. Mahomes to have a lot of success, passing. And I just Washington's the classic case of a team who improved too quickly, too soon last year. And as a result of that, we had higher expectations this year than we should have had. And I fell into that trap myself. I mean, I didn't pick them to go to the Super Bowl, but I thought they'd be a playoff team. And they're just so-so all around. They're not that good of a team. They have their defense isn't good. You could run on them, which Pacheco should do. And Kansas City handily at home, 36-16. A nice afternoon for Chief fans watching this game.
What you got, James?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Rashid Rice is back, and I'm pretty sure he wants to start catching up with his numbers. And Patrick Mahomes is going to give him the ball to do that. I just think that there's no competition right here with Mariota. Mariota's a good guy to come in and to spell 1 or 2 games here and there, but he's going up against a pretty decent defense with the Chiefs. You look for Chris. What's the guy? The defensive tackle, Chris Jones. Chris Jones. You won't ever see a game like what he did against Jacksonville ever again. I'm pretty sure.
One play.
It was one play. Yeah, forgive me, Chris. Yes, one play. Yeah. But it just it overshadowed what he's done as a great All-Pro 3 technique. So absolutely. And so I just don't think that there's enough there for them to go into Kansas City and get an upset. So and then, like you said, they're on the upswing. They're 4-3. They're going to be 5-3 after this game.
Yeah, I think that I'm on the same wagon with that. It's in Kansas City, even though I think even if it was in Washington, they'd still win that game by a landslide. Although Washington is getting back, Scary Terry and Debo has been cleared to play, so both at least 2 of their weapons will be out there. I just don't think that their level of competition is going to be too high here. And to your Chris Jones comment there, it goes back to the guy that dropped the ball before he got into the end zone. Once you get called out, basically you're going to start playing like you need to be playing and not have those down swings. So I think Chris Jones will be fine. Chiefs in a big. This will be
the leader. That he's one of the leaders of that team. Lead on defense.
Exactly.
How he plays, but emotionally there.
Well, how you play is a detriment too of how you proceed. Leadership exposed to the rest of your team. So he needed to dial that down, get himself together. He had a very good game the last 2 games he played. So I mean, and then the Chiefs are at home. So right there, you Taylor Swift's in the building, they automatically lost. So it don't make a difference. But yeah, they're gonna get I think Commanders are gonna get beat down in this game. And it's not gonna look good for them because they got in the future because they got the Lions coming there. Green Bay already played them. Who's playing them? Some other trying to figure out another team that's coming in. That's a real good team that's playing them too. And they're Washington don't win this game. Their season's slowly going down the toilet. So I don't think they're even going to make the playoffs. I think Dallas plays as well as they're playing, and they continue to win games. Dallas will be second in that division. I just don't see any. Dallas is starting to come up, and don't let Jerry Jones get his wish, and get some defensive help with his first round picks because he's been threatening that these last 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens. Do you guys have any make or break games that might? Besides the ones that we talked about, especially for Baltimore. Baltimore's really got to get themselves together.
I'm thinking of a make or break trade because the trading deadline's coming up, and you just mentioned Jerry Jones. They have 2 first-round picks. I mean, did they use one of these first-round picks and maybe do a first and a 4th rounder, for example? Would a Max Crosby be available? Hendrickson from the Bengals? I mean, you kind of wonder whether – that would be huge for the Cowboys. Could you imagine they got one of them and they plugged them in where Micah Parsons would normally be? And those are players that would be on the Micah Parsons level. As pass rushers.
Max is not going anywhere. The Raiders got him locked down so bad.
But the Raiders, where are they going? That's the thing. But they
don't
probably
make a
want more than
Max is a Raider for life.
Yeah, I would think so.
He's not. Hendrickson, but I wouldn't give up a first round pick for Hendrickson.
But you have 2 first rounders. If it's the second of your 2 first round picks, the Cowboys could think, okay, that's going to be in the 20s. That's worth it for us. And the Bengals,
as long as they give him a pick too.
They might not be able to sign him next year because he's not on the contract. I could see them willing to make the move.
Yeah, they could get Hendrickson. If they give him with a first round pick, they're going to have to. Cincinnati's going to give up some picks too. Because there's no way you're just going to throw a first-round pick at Hendrickson.
Brainstorming what could have an impact.
Hey, I want to send a shout-out to the pitcher for the L.A. Dodgers, playing 2 complete games. The past 2 last night. Yamamoto, yeah. So, the game series tied, 1-1.
Yeah, Dodgers straighten it out. Now they go back to L.A. for the next 3 games. I think they'll win those 3 games at home. And if they win 2 out of 3, then I think they'll win a game 6 at Toronto. But it's a short series. If the Blue Jays can extend it and they go into a 5th game 2-2, even if you're down 3-2, winning 2 games is always doable, in baseball for sure. So anything can happen if the Blue Jays do win a 2nd game.
The Blue Jays are a better team than most people think. Again, that 6th inning, that first game was incredible.
But the Dodgers starting pitching is kind of built for these playoffs, the guys they could throw out there. But the Dodgers bullpen hasn't been good this year, even though they've made all the right moves. So we'll see.
Yeah, if the Dodgers win the next 4 games, then
3 games, yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
next 3 games, yeah. It didn't. It's irrelevant, but anyway, because I picked him to sweep too, Jack. So, oops.
Yeah.
I think it's going 7.
Yeah. Anyway, all being said, everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. Enjoy football. We'll be back at 7 a.m. with Jack and Keith for the weekend playbook, and then at 7 p.m. with Jack and Frank for Gloved Fist. Until that time, folks, have a great Sunday.